Title of the first section today is Find an Equation with a slope and a point. So in this section we'll find an equation for a line using a given slope and a given point. First problem, the point is -4, 1, and the slope m is equal to -3/2. If you remember graphing lines or equations of lines, the form is y equals mx plus b. Using the given information, we have a x and y point we can plug in for x and y. We have a slope m we can plug in for m, and we can find the missing value for b. So in place of y, we'll use the y value, which is 1. Instead of m, we'll use the slope -3/2. Instead of x, we'll use the number -4. And plus b, we'll find b to use for our final answer. To solve this one, -3/2 times -4, you can make -4 a fraction by putting a 1 on the bottom. So we'll have 1 equals -3 times -4 would be 12, and 2 times 1 would be 2. Simplifying, 12 divided by 2 would be 6. So we have 1 equals 6 plus b. Solving for b, we can subtract 6 on both sides. 1 minus 6 would be -5. So -5 is equal to b. Keep in mind the question is to find an equation. What we'll use is this top equation, y equals mx plus b. So our answer will be y equals m, which the original slope was given, -3/2, and we'll leave x and y in the equation, and instead of b, we'll use the value -5. So the equation of the line would be y equals -3/2 x minus 5. Title of the next section is Find an Equation with 2 points. So in this section we want the answer to be an equation, and we'll be given 2 points to find that equation. First problem. 2 points. The first point is -1, 4, and -4, 5. So using these 2 points, we can write an equation in y equals mx plus b form. The first step, we can find out the slope, or what m is, using the 2 points. If you remember from the previous section that we did, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is the equation for a slope. If we subtract the y values, we'll have 5 minus 4, and the x values, -4 minus a -1. 5 minus 4 would be 1, and -4 minus a -1 would be the same as -4 plus 1, which would be -3. So our slope would be -1/3. Once we have the slope m, then we can use the equation y equals mx plus b to find out what b is, or find the y-intercept. Just like in the previous section, we'll plug in numbers for x and y. Since we have 2 points, we can use either point to get the correct answer. For example, we can use the first point. The y value would be 4. The m we found was negative 1/3. X is negative 1 and plus b. If you wanted to, instead of negative 1 and 4, you could use negative 4 and 5 and you get the same answer. Solving from here, 4 equals negative 1/3 times negative 1 would be positive 1/3 plus b. Solving for b, you can subtract 1/3 on both sides. 4 minus 1/3 would be 3 and 2/3. So b equals 3 and 2/3, or as a improper fraction, 3 times 3 would be 9, plus 2 more would be 11. 11 over 3. So our final answer, y equals, the m that we found in the question was negative 1/3 x, and the b value, we could use either one. You could have plus 11 over 3. So the final answer, y equals negative 1/3 x plus 11 over 3. Title of the last section today is finding a parallel or perpendicular equation. So this section will still find an equation of a line, but we'll find either a parallel equation or perpendicular equation. First question is negative 3, comma, negative 1, and parallel to y equals negative x plus 5. So we want to find an equation that's parallel to this equation, but passes through the point negative 3, negative 1. We can find the slope for a parallel line. If you remember the definitions we did in the previous section, a parallel line has the same slope. The slope of this equation, in terms of y equals mx plus b, m, or the slope, is a number in front of x, which is negative 1. So the parallel slope would still be negative 1. And again, we can use the equation y equals mx plus b. Using the slope we found and the point, we can find the new y-intercept, or the new value for b. Y is negative 1 equals, m is also negative 1, x is negative 3, and plus b. Multiplying negative 1 times negative 3 would be 3 plus b. Solving, you can subtract, and b is equal to negative 4. The answer to the question again will be an equation, y equals, the m is negative 1, so negative 1x, and the b value we found was negative 4. So the equation y equals negative x minus 4 would be the answer. Second question, and last question for the section. We'll have the point 6, comma, negative 5, and perpendicular to 3x minus 1 over 5y equals 3. So again, this time we want an equation that passes through this point, and is perpendicular to the equation. This equation is not in y equals mx plus b or slope-intercept form. So to find the slope, we have to first put it in slope-intercept form. To do that, we can subtract 3x on both sides. So we'll have negative 1 over 5y equals, putting x first, we'll have negative 3x and plus 3. To get rid of the fraction negative 1/5, you can multiply by the reciprocal, which would be negative 5 over 1, and we'll multiply both sides by negative 5 over 1. The reciprocals cancel out, so y equals, distribute the negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 3 would be 15x, and negative 5 times a positive 3 would be minus 15. So the equation given in the problem in slope-intercept form is 15x minus 15. We want the perpendicular slope to this equation. So the perpendicular slope, if you remember the definition, is opposite reciprocal. The slope here is 15 over 1. Opposite would be negative, and the reciprocal of 15 over 1 would be 1 over 15. So the slope that we'll use for our answer is negative 1 over 15. Continuing the question to find b, we'll use the original point, which was 6 comma negative 5. So the y value is negative 5 equals m, which we found was negative 1 over 15, times x, which is 6, and plus b. Solving the equation, negative 5, negative 1 over 15 times 6 over 1 would be negative 6 over 15, plus b. And solving for b, we can add 6 over 15 on both sides. Negative 5 plus 6 over 15. We need common denominators for those. So we can make it negative 5 over 1, and the common denominator would be 15. So negative 5 will multiply by 15 for the numerator and denominator. 15 times negative 5 would be negative 75 over 15, and we're adding to that 6 over 15. Subtracting negative 75 over 15 plus 6 over 15 would be negative 69 over 15. Keep in mind to always reduce fractions. 69 over 15, you can divide each of those by 3. So we'll be left with negative 23 over 5 for the b value. The final answer, y equals, the slope we found was negative 1 over 15x and minus 23 over 5.